folks, welcome back to Cultivology, the study of cultivation, and that's the cultivation of growth, wealth, abundance. I'm Kyle Beaver, and this is the show of how we get into the mechanics of small ag, small business, and how we grow. So today's a solo episode, and we're getting into something that most people in ag either don't know about or don't really think is for them. So we're talking about grants, specifically the grants that we applied for this year, the process and what it looked like, and what the outcomes were. So stay tuned, follow along with us. We're going to be talking about 2 or 3 major grants here that we received this year, which have absolutely exploded our farm into a real good looking 2027. So let's get into it. So the first one, the Specialty Crop Block Grant. This is a federal grant up to $250,000 for first subscribers here. And we have one of these pending in the federal government right now for $150K. Seriously excited about this one. So I'm going to tell you exactly how we got there, what it took, and why the number one mistake most small farmers make with these grants is assuming those grants aren't meant for them. They are absolutely meant for small farms, and many of these programs are. So there are programs specifically built for operations just like ours, whether it be agriculture or another small business. There are grants out there available and funding available for every type of small business. So there's definitely a program specifically built for someone like you. So don't count yourself out just because you think you're in some specialty niche that really has no access to capital. There's capital available everywhere, and this is something that we need to beat into our minds as small business owners. There is funding available. You need funding to grow. We all need funding to grow. It's the only way that it happens. So usually that requires taking on some debt. Taking on debt is just a natural part of business in the beginning. So nobody's ever told you about these things. I'm here to tell you there is a way, and I'm going to talk about how we've done that here a little bit. So 2 major programs this year for agriculture specifically was the Specialty Crop Block Grant, and now there's a Specialty Crop Multi-State Grant actually out right now at the time of the posting this video. So that's open till, I believe, mid-August. So if you're catching this mid-June, July, absolutely some time to get out there and hopefully get a submission into this grant. So with the Specialty Crop Grant and the Multi-State Grant, they are both actually worked through Pennsylvania State. So these are Pennsylvania State specific grants where you have to apply through the government of your respective state. Now, they're federally funded, so there's a 2-bit process when it comes to actually having them accepted. But for the most part, you will have to get in contact with one of your state coordinators to actually qualify for these. You know, the focus on these grants is it's enhancing the competitiveness of specialty crops. So we're a specialty crop farm here at 10 Mile Mushrooms. We're growing specialty gourmet mushrooms. There's quite a few other things that qualify though. Fruits, veggies, tree nuts, dried fruits, horticulture, nursery crops, all kinds of stuff that are applicable under these. They all qualify. So if you're growing something other than commodity crops like corn or soybean, you really do have a chance at being able to apply for these things. Secondly, make sure that you are organized enough to apply. And by that, I mean you need basic business documentation in place. You need to be an LLC or a farm entity. You know, you need a farm business plan, at least something. Most of them don't ask for it, but you need a clear description of what you're doing and where you're going with some financial records to back it. You know, a USDA farm track number if you have one. These aren't always required for every grant, but having them on hand really speeds up things at the end of the day. So if you've never applied for a grant before and you want to start somewhere, here's what I would tell you first. Go to your State Department of Agriculture website and look for any specialty crop or farm development grant programs that they may administer. Most states have something. The SCBGP money flows from the USDA right down to the states, and the states are then able to open their own application cycles. So your entry point is really almost always the state. So for us, for the Specialty Crop Block Grant, it's directly connected to research and development work around substrate production and growing mediums, which is what we do here at 10 Mile Mushrooms. We make ready-to-fruit substrate. We're sending these to other farms. They're growing the substrate on their farm. So we're looking for better and more efficient ways, and this was in total alignment with us. So the grant gives us resources to just do it faster, document it better, test different substrate formulations, and really get scientific with it, having that backing. Whereas, instead of being caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday operation and business operation, we now have some financial backing to take a breath, really get scientific, and get down and dirty with this kind of stuff. So the alignment is really what makes it worth it, because we're propelling our everyday operations now. We're not just, doing something that's totally irrelevant. And with that being said, not every single grant is worth actually chasing. There's a lot of grants that don't really actually align and you actually can't deliver on. That's one of the other things. You need to actually be able to deliver on what you're saying, because they come with requirements. You have to track your outcomes, submit reports, and actually execute on a lot of this stuff. So you don't want to chase something that's totally out in left field and you've never done it before. It actually has to be applicable. So just use your imagination. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly what you're doing as a business, but it can be something really kind of parallel that you could run and advance your stuff in multiple different ways. The major difference that I want to point out between these two is, first and foremost, that the Specialty Crop Block Grant can be used for a lot of different things, but it does not need to have collaborators. It doesn't need to have partners, whereas the multi-state grant needs and requires a partner outside of the actual state in which you're operating and performing the experiments, research, or delivering on the grant itself. So are writing grants worth it for small farms? I would say, without a doubt, 100%. There's nothing else that you could do that may be more high value than writing grants. I mean, you could add a couple more farmers markets, or you could take another 10 hours and write a grant and potentially get up to, whatever, buco bucks in funding. I don't see many opportunities for small farms to just generate a revenue of $150,000 overnight. It just doesn't happen. So there's definitely a lot at stake here when I hear folks saying that they're not able to even get started on writing grants. I mean, we are in the most technologically advanced time in human history, as far as we know. But the misconception is people think these are for universities, that they're for research institutions. A lot of them are. A lot of them are for tons of different types of organizations, nonprofits, commercial operations. A lot of them are open to all of this. But the reality of most of these programs, they're not. The Specialty Crop Block Grant and some of these larger ones do get hammered, but there are little gems hidden where it's like, these are specifically designed for small farms. You fill out one page of paperwork that is like your information and state some sort of project, and they go through them and they fund people. Like, there's things like that out there. So we need to just expand our mind and get looking and get digging, talking to our local, here it's called CEDACOG, or our local small business startup. These people know when these grants are available. So you need to get linked in with those kind of people. It's the number one leverage thing that you can do as a small farm to get yourself to a small to medium, mid-sized farm. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the timing of these grants. So a lot of these grant applications are open in the spring. February to April is a lot of the Specialty Crop Block Grant times. As I said, we're in June now. This multi-state grant just came out. This is actually one I've never seen on the board before. But it takes a couple of years to actually understand when all of these are coming out. So you have to mark your calendar when you see one that you think you may be applicable for. And if you've missed the date, set the date in your calendar and be ready for it. That's how we've been so successful this year. Right now, if we get this specialty crop block grant, we'll be up to almost $250,000 in federal funding. Now, a lot of these are matches. We need to spend the money before we get the money back, but it's allowing a lot of wiggle room for growth in the business. So just be aware of, when you're ready to move on these things, the windows are only open for a short amount of time, and you need to have enough information about your operation documented in order to drive a quick outcome through your chatbot or AI. And thirdly, start building your AI workflow now. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just start documenting your operation, because these documents can then be formatted and fed into AI so it knows your specific operation. And this all around helps the business. If you're creating and making SOPs, upload them. It's all stuff that you can loop together to create this one big massive momentum. So, upload your production numbers, update all of your market info, your customer base, all of that stuff. It's no problem just to have another set of eyes on it, essentially. Really what makes the process a little bit overwhelming is all the writing, the narrative sections, the project descriptions, the goals. The budget is always something for me that seems like it's seriously unfathomable sometimes. You need measurable outcomes. So all of that takes serious time to think about, and really the general formulation of the focus of your project is really what's going to take you the most amount of time. But you either had to do it yourself or pay somebody thousands of dollars to do this prior. So now you can train your AI agent properly, meaning you feed it the right information from other people who have written successful grants. You feed it your data, your writing, the grant requirements, and it can do all of the heavy lifting for you. This used to take 2 weeks, now it takes days. And what used to take days now takes literally hours to do. The time investment for these applications is really minimal compared to what it was even a year ago, because these models have advanced so much. And I don't care if you knock me for it. Everybody's using it. We are using it against our will when you use Google, when you use YouTube. So you might as well try to make a difference in the world with it. There's absolutely no reason these corporations should make buco bucks off of us and our data, and us not use it to change the world in our own small ways. It's the least we can do at this point. So here's one thing that I want you to be clear with. I think there's a lot of fear when it comes to the word grants in general, and just intimidation. People hear grant and they immediately think, oh, there's this huge stack of paperwork, a team of consultants, a whole bunch of months worth of work, and really no guarantee at the end that you're going to get any money out of it. And honestly, that's sometimes can be a lot closer to reality than often not, but not today. Today we have amazing tools at hand, which the government is not enforcing or looking for, that you can use to really, really make the grant writing process easier. AI, it's here, and it is a great way to get and find grants. And I truly believe if you're not on this wave, you're just going to get left in the dirt. This year, a lot of these programs have reached out. A lot of the grants that we have not actually received, which we've applied for almost 10 this year, a lot of them that we have not received actually haven't even been able to fund most of what they normally do, because they're seeing 60 to 100% increases in people submitting grants. And I think a lot of that is due to AI. So while it is more competitive, there is also a much easier input value here than has been in the past. I mean, it legitimately was 30 to 40 hours of worth of work in the past. You had to take a significant amount of time and really create this stuff. with AI, you can pretty much walk your chatbot through the process. You need to obviously give it documentation to make it sound like you, but it is a tool beyond measure as to how much time it really is saved people. And I know a lot of my friends have gotten grants doing this process and using it this way. So if you got anything useful out of this, guys, please hit the like button and share this podcast so we can get other people into Cultivology and cultivating the life that they want and they need. We're building Cultivology into something that gives people real ground level info, to farmers, big ag entrepreneurs who are trying to build businesses that actually work, and the more people that we can reach, the better. So if you want to go deeper on the farm side of business, check us out at Farm Launch. We do coaching, mentoring, the whole nine, and we are helping people get specialty mushroom farms started from the ground up. So we work directly one-on-one with you and really help you build a business that is solid from the beginning. That's Cultivology, the study of grant cultivation. We'll see you on the next one.